Manhood Academy podcasting. Welcome back, children. I don't even think I've tuned the microphone up. Let me see if I can tune it up here. What fucking level is it at? 888-787. 888-777-888-778. Level 8. Okay. I keep fluctuating back and forth between level 7 and level 8. Because level 7 seems like it's just about loud enough, but level 8 seems like it's definitely perfectly loud enough. Might be too loud, so I'm always back and forth between 7 and 8. Not exactly sure which one's a better one. I think I have it on 8 right now. So if it's too loud or it's loud enough, let me know, because this is level 8. And if it doesn't sound good here, we'll put it back down to level 7. So in the comments, let me know what you think audio-wise, if this is loud enough. Okay, let's get into it. Who left an MP3? Took LeBron Christ. Quite an interesting name. Took him about 5 hours, plus or minus 5 months, to figure out how to post an MP3. Congratulations on finally managing that. That was a miracle. And I listened to it, and I fell asleep during most of it. The only part I really liked, other than, I think your voice sounds normal. There's not really an issue. Let's take a little listen, shall we?
Extremely witty things to say are caused by trying to think too fast and talking way too fast and not really even enjoying or actually expressing myself. Yeah, I've been practicing talking with my hands a lot more too, because I noticed that anybody that's charismatic, anybody that's really expressive in what they're saying always uses their hands to talk. They move them slowly and deliberately when they're trying to.
Okay, so that's a little mind-numbing sample of LeBron Christ expressing himself, talking about who knows what. I was just listening to basically the voice tone, the inflection. It sounds fine to me. It doesn't sound like there's any real problems. The real issue is not voice inflection, because you have a decent amount of voice inflection already. It's really just your attitude. Just like when you're speaking about, at the end part, you're talking about the charismatic person, you're becoming more passionate about it, I guess you might say. You're becoming more definite about it. You're clear on what you want to say. So it shows you have conviction in your voice. You have more voice inflection. When you're saying something like, people with charismatic expression always talk with their hands. You put an emphasis on always. So when you put an emphasis on certain words, or you speak with voice inflection, this shows a very orderly expression, because you're taking your language, you're taking your idioms, you're taking your words, and you're emphasizing certain points that need to be emphasized, and de-emphasizing points that don't need to be emphasized as much. So there's a variety in your speech, not just for the sake of variety, but again, to enhance what you want to say. So you're stressing things that need more importance. Like when you say always, you're stressing always. So you can see there, that's a prime example of some good expression. There's the unsure part where you're pausing, and I don't know, you get in certain stages, you get kind of like this, and I don't know what to say, and blah, 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 and you get kind of monotone, and this is just like groping around. You don't know where you're going, so everything just kind of becomes bland at that point. And it shows when people don't know what they're talking about, they don't know where they're going with the conversation, they have no direction, they have no goal when they're talking to people. They don't know that they want to have fun with their friends, or they don't know if they want to pick up the chick they're talking to, or they don't know that they're trying to, maybe they're trying to protect their rights, or they're trying to assert their authority with another male. In any case, the inflection is missing because the attitude is missing. Everything you do with your, looking at somebody in the eye, making eye contact, using voice inflection, speaking clearly, articulating, all these things all stem from your attitude. If the attitude isn't there, everything else is going to sound artificial. It's going to sound contrived, because there are so many nuances to communication. There's so many nuances to voice inflection, to moving your hands, to keeping good eye contact, your posture. There's so many nuances of communication that it's impossible to memorize every single thing to do right, or every single thing you're doing wrong, and try and head it off to the past. There's too many ways to have a nervous tick. So really what needs to be adjusted first and foremost is the attitude. Because if your attitude is one that conveys your authority, if your attitude is one of a person who has authority, then your mannerisms, your behavior, your speech, your eye contact is all going to follow that. It's all going to stem from that. It doesn't go the other way around where you think you're going to behave like an authoritative person and suddenly the attitude will follow. In some regard, there is something to be said for modeling behavior. Like you need to have an example growing up. Like let's say you have your dad growing up. If he were an authoritative figure, a proper authoritative figure, you would pick it up almost through osmosis, through seeing him, through constant exposure to him and his authority and how he expressed himself. Then you would have a pattern for that behavior. So in a sense, yes, you would be emulating certain behavior, and you would not necessarily become authoritative because of that, but you would see the difference between an authoritative person and a non-authoritative person. But mostly when your dad is speaking that way to you or speaking to others and you're in the vicinity, you're getting more of the attitude. The attitude is rubbing off on you of what an authoritative person is like, how they view things, how they speak to people. So you're learning to pick up this attitude. It's not just that you see your dad growing up and you go, oh, that's how an authoritative person behaves, so I want to be authoritative in the future, so I should probably mimic his mannerisms. No, when you're growing up, it's very organic. You pick up his perspective. You pick up his ideals. You pick up his bad habits. You pick up what's both functional and dysfunctional from your dad, if you had a dad growing up, and you emulate that behavior in the sense that you pick up the attitude or the approach that he has. So if you have a dad who's a complete pussy, like a lot of people, you become a complete pussy, you become a mangina. If you have a dad who's very authoritative, it's very almost natural for you to speak to people in an authoritative manner. You pick up that attitude. So that's kind of what you're trying to pick up here from the podcast, from the tone of the posts. If you can pick up the tone of the posts, from everything that's presented and how it's presented, you're trying to pick up that authoritative attitude from Manhood Academy, believe it or not. If I was a guy just conveying information to you, like I knew how to be authoritative because I read a Manhood Academy book, but I wasn't Professor Plum. I was just some guy who read the book and memorized it and knew it backwards and forwards. And then suddenly I came on a podcast and I was speaking to you about authority. There would be a huge disconnect. There would be an incongruent, there would be a disparity between how I'm trying to communicate myself to you and what I'm typing or the words you see on the screen. There would be a disconnect between the philosophy or the teaching or the theory behind these principles and then my actual conveying of them through my physical expression, through my voice, hand gestures, etc., eye contact, etc. But on the podcast, for sure, an authoritative person is going to speak differently. I'm not going to be as definite because I'm not going to be as clear as what I want to say. I'm not going to have that clear direction. Now, maybe if I memorize material, I'd have clarity to some degree, but ultimately, if I don't have the attitude of authority, if that doesn't translate into my attitude changing, into my whole perspective changing, not just what I learned, but how I perceive things, how I view things. If that isn't changed, then my expression overall isn't going to be changed. I may be able to fake things at certain times in certain social situations where I'm conscious of doing things or know I have to keep eye contact when I'm looking at this person, or know when I'm in the job interview I have to speak strongly and speak definitely. But overall, there's going to be a lot of situations where I'm just caught off guard and I just revert back to my natural attitude, my natural disposition, you might say. And that's where really that lack of attitude, that lack of authority will betray me. It'll come out when I'm speaking. Like, for instance, I won't know what I'm saying, so suddenly I'll go monotone like this, and I won't be very definite. I'll use a lot of terms like I guess or maybe or I don't know or whatever. You know, these very indefinite expression, very indefinite terms, things that lead me away from being responsible for what I'm saying. So if I'm going to say something, I might be sarcastic if I'm going to answer something like, oh, this guy thinks he's so smart. You know, I'm basically doing whatever I can to alleviate the responsibility I'm going to feel if I'm put in an authoritative position. Because when you're put in a position of authority, there is that weight of responsibility on you. There is that heavy weight on you. And that heavy weight shapes how you speak. It shapes how you do things. It puts gravity in your voice. It puts gravity in your mannerisms. It puts gravity in the way you conduct yourself with others. Because you know to a certain extent, what am I saying to a certain extent? Because you know when you're speaking to others, you are changing their behavior. You're responsible for changing their behavior. You're basically responsible for another person's welfare. So when I'm in a teaching position and I'm in a position of authority, I'm responsible for how you behave with others, for how you turn out, whether I realize it or not, whether I want it or not. That's what happens when you have authority. So like if I'm your dad, I'm your teacher, I'm your leader, whatever I am to you in an authority position, I'm your boss, whoever is in that authority position over you, I shape how you act. I'm responsible for how you act. And that perspective, that view, changes how I operate with you. I can no longer afford to be I guess so, maybe it should be this way. Imagine if I was your boss and I said, well, I guess you should show up to work on time. I don't know, maybe it'd be a good idea for you to be here. You would eventually take advantage of that over time because you would realize, hey, this guy's not going to enforce what he says. This guy's not going to fire me. I have the luxury now of showing up whenever I want. I could show up late if I want to work. So if there's no authority behind what I'm saying, that's going to be conveyed in my attitude and my speaking, and then eventually it's going to be conveyed in how you respond to me, how people react to me, how others perceive me, how people value me, what they think about me, if I'm attractive or not. If I'm very wishy-washy and very back and forth, or I have no conviction in what I'm saying, or, like if I'm your boss and I say, well, it's a good idea if you show up on time, hopefully try to do better, try to come on time. You're going to take advantage of that because you're going to see me as a person who doesn't have much authority, who doesn't have the ability to enforce his expectations. As a result, if I'm a leader of a company, if I'm the boss and I'm the CEO, my company's going to tank. That's not very good leadership experience. That's not very good leadership skills. It's not showing good leadership. It's not trying to figure out the right words. It's not being a good leader. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I just want to say the right thing and it just doesn't come out right, guys, and I don't know what to do. So when you're in a leadership position, you want to convey your authority. I'm so lost. I don't know what I'm saying right now. Okay, I think I covered it. I'm just trying to cover it in 50 different ways, but the point is leadership. Well, the point is not leadership. The point is your authority is going to be conveyed when you attempt to lead others. And your lack of authority is also going to be conveyed when you attempt to lead others. So, number one, your attitude. Your attitude, you need to have an authoritative attitude. How do you get an authoritative attitude? Good fucking question. It helps to have direction. It would help if you've read the ebook. It would help if you have models of authoritative behavior. It would help if you were part of Manhood Academy, in other words. Or some other form of authority over you, whether you're raised by authoritative parents, you have an authoritative teacher, a mentor, somebody who's in charge, who knows how to be in charge, who knows how to get his expectations met, and who knows how to apply pain when those expectations are not being met. Very crucial to maintaining your authority. Also, equally crucial to maintaining your authority, knowing how to give others incentive to follow your expectations, your authoritative expectations. If I expect you to show up on time, I need to give you the ultimate incentive, a paycheck. I need to reward you with pay. As a good worker, for a job well done, here's your $10 an hour. Thanks for showing up. That is your incentive. If you don't show up on time, I need to apply the equally necessary tool of pain. I need to say, look, show up on time or you'll be fired. Show up on time or you'll be written up. Show up on time or I'll punch you in the face. There needs to be some consequence for you violating my expectations. This is another necessary incentive. So there's the positive and negative incentive. There's the incentive of pain. If you don't do this, some painful consequence is going to befall you. Or there's there's the positive incentive of pleasure. Meaning if you do what I say, if you do meet my expectations, I'm going to reward you. I'm going to give you a pleasurable outcome. I'm going to give you something pleasurable to give you the incentive to continue to meet my expectations in the future. This maintains my authority. Mic check, 1, 2. Okay, since you can't tell, I'm going to spill the beans. This is not day 2 in a row, but this is another day, probably, I want to say a week later from when I last left off. And I had an experience that made me consider something I want to talk about. Expectation management, which is very crucial. And a lot of you guys are seeing expectation management as applying pleasure and applying pain. But you're not applying pain. You're doing things almost in a very passive way. Like you're making the classic mistake of having passive expectations. And it's understandable because you don't yet have active expectations, which means you're basically leading. The closer you get to active expectations, the closer you get to actually leading and taking somebody in a direction that you want them to follow. So you have to kind of have a direction, know where you want to go in order to have these active expectations. If you don't have a direction, at the very least, you know what you don't want people to do to you, in certain respects. For instance, when you're talking to me, don't shout at me or don't ignore me. So these are kind of like passive expectations that people have to activate. People have to do something in order for you to have that expectation activated. Instead, there are what you should be concerned with is creating more and more active expectations, things that you expect people to do. And practically speaking, I'll give you an example. Like we always talk about when you're first meeting a girl, you have to lead her towards what you eventually want to accomplish with her, in a relationship, to date her, etc. So you have to actively lead her in that direction. And a lot of that has to do with managing her reaction to what you say. So let's say you like frisbees, or you like flying kites, you like riding your bike, you like playing checkers, you like yoga, whatever you like. She's going to have at some point a reaction that is not something that's going to meet your expectations. It's going to violate your expectations. So let's say you like, I don't know, playing video games, and her past experience with boyfriends is that her boyfriends play video games and they're losers and they don't have jobs, or they play video games and they beat her, or they play video games and they set the house on fire, or they play video games and they never show affection to her. So right off the bat, anyone who plays video games, she has a bad association in her head with whoever plays video games. Now, she hasn't met you, and you reveal to her at some point talking to her, hey, I play video games. What is she going to do? Immediately, she's going to access that history she's had with people, with guys that she's dated that have played video games, and she's going to think to herself, whoever plays video games is an asshole. You play video games, therefore you must be an asshole. And then she becomes critical of your hobby, of what you like, etc. It doesn't have to be video games, whatever it is. If she doesn't like it, or she basically is violating your expectation at that point, that is when you need to apply pain. This has to do with managing her reaction. Okay? If you don't manage her reaction, if you're very passive, eventually that's going to affect your relationship. It doesn't matter what area, whether it's sexual, in the bedroom, when you're first meeting a girl, or whether you're in the middle of dating. I'll give you an example. Tonight, I got a call from, I'm dating this girl, and I get a call from her. I haven't seen her in 2 days. And usually when you're dating somebody, you're getting closer. The more you're leading them towards your active expectations, the more you're going to basically have like daily contact. Daily contact with the person you're dating is going to be almost a given expectation. You're going to miss that person. You're going to want to see them more and more over extended a period of time. And essentially a relationship boils down to you living together, you being together on a constant basis. So she's not living here, but the point is the more you progress in the relationship, the more normal it is, the more natural it is for you to want to see each other more often. So we've seen each other, typically every day or every other day. So at this point, I haven't seen her in 2 days, so I call her up, and she makes some excuse like she is busy doing X, Y, and Z. And I say, okay. And then I call her back to say I want to see her at some other time, and then she says, okay, we need to talk. And when you hear that, oh, we need to talk, that's usually something bad. So she basically talks to me and says, I don't think this is working out. Now, I'm doing the things already that are, I'm doing the basic things which are necessary to create attraction or to create a relationship. So I'm leading the interaction. I'm exercising my authority, applying pleasure, applying pain. But you'll see, in certain regards, I'm not doing an effective job. Namely, in applying pain with competing expectations and applying enough pleasure where it's warranted, where if somebody is meeting my expectations, I should apply pleasure to reinforce that, to make them want to keep meeting my expectations. So in this case, girls, well, let me give you a general statement about girls. Girls like to state things in the negative to solicit validation from you, to solicit your approval. They're basically like fishing for approval. So if they say something like, oh, you don't like the way I do my hair, or oh, you think I'm fat, or you think I'm dumb, or you don't like it when I tell a joke. You don't think I'm funny. And they put on that sad pouty face. They're really not saying that. They're really saying, please give me pleasure. Please validate me. Please approve of who I am. Please give me a pleasurable response, pleasurable reaction. So they want you to say, no, I do think you're funny. No, I do like spending time with you. No, I do think you're smart. So they're stating things in the negative. A lot of times girls mischaracterize what you say because they're retarded, but a lot of times they also mischaracterize things because they know it's a mischaracterization, but they expect you to correct it because that's a way for them to gain approval. For instance, if they say, oh, you think I'm fat, they expect you to say, no, I think you're beautiful the way you are. I think I love you just the way you are, that type of thing. So you're giving them a pleasurable response. You're reassuring them and letting them know that you care for them. So instead of just flat out asking, hey, can you validate me? Can you approve of me? Can you apply pleasure to me? Can you tell me something good? Which on occasion they will, but it's less of a blow to their self-esteem if they can state something in the negative and then you just correct it. So they don't have to go out on a limb and say they need you. Girls don't want to appear weak because of the messages from feminism that say girls have to be independent and strong. They don't want to appear weak in front of you. That is viewed as something negative. So it's a cultural thing that they don't want to be viewed as weak in front of you. There's that cultural reinforcement that says girls have to be strong at all times. Also, there is the natural element of girls feeling vulnerable and they want to be defensive because they don't want to have their feelings hurt. They don't want to be in a bad, poor emotional state. So they're going to say things to protect that fragile self-esteem. So that's another way when they state things in the negative, they expect you to correct them. So I kind of know what's going on, and this girl has a tendency to say, oh, you are not emotional, or you don't like to talk about things. You don't like it when I talk about things. You just want a subservient girl. So she's kind of going to the extreme, like saying, I want a geisha girl who doesn't talk, who only speaks when spoken to. Of course, she expects me to correct that assumption, to correct that mischaracterization, and say, no, I like hearing you talk. I like spending time with you, right? She wants that approval, that validation. But I'm just stubborn. I don't give it to her. Or I know what she's doing, and I don't want to play that game, so I won't do it for that reason either. Eventually, though, now I realize from this phone call, when she explains to me, she says, oh, I get the feeling that you don't like when I do X, Y, and Z, or you don't like me talking. And she referenced one time, the last time she was over my place, and I told her, don't act like a bitch, because she's nagging me. And if she's saying something, it wasn't necessarily nagging, but it was something I didn't want to answer, some question I didn't want to answer. So I basically just characterized it as nagging and said, don't nag me. Stop talking, don't nag me. It's a violation of my authority for you to keep, when I'm thinking, it's a violation of my authority for her to keep asking me a question about something when I already gave her the answer. That's nagging to me. So I applied pain to that. Said, stop being a bitch. Stop nagging me. And she stopped. But that is compounded with the fact that I am being very sloppy in expectation management and that I'm not taking an active hand in shaping her reactions, or I should say auditing her reactions to what I say and what I do, how I behave. I'm not taking an active hand to lead her, to tell her what types of reactions she should be having to me. And this is really crucial. This is really important for you to manage a girl's reactions to what you do and what you say. Because if you don't, oftentimes girls apply all kinds of twisted chick logic, emotional reasoning that has nothing to do with reality. It's just based in distortions, worrying about their self-esteem, these types of things that give them these kind of neurotic, worrying thoughts. It's kind of like if you're a dork and you don't know anything about hot chicks, and you think, or you don't know anything about social interaction in general, and you go into a bar or a crowded room, you think everybody's staring at you. It's just a delusion. It's a distortion of reality because your poor social skills, your neurotic tendency to think everybody's thinking the worst of you. Everybody cares so much about you that you've entered the room that they've all of a sudden put their attention on you. It's just this distortion of reality that's going on in your head because of your poor self-esteem, etc. So, what was the point of that? Okay, so that's an example of what she is doing is creating these distortions. So, oh God, I lost my train of thought. That's the danger of trying to further explain a tangent, trying to succinctly explain something or explain it to the nth degree so that it's so crystal clear to you. I give you so many different analogies and speak about it from so many different angles that I'm in danger of losing my original point, like right now. Ah, nice sippy sip of lemonade. Let's see if I can recover. Okay, so we're talking about expectation management. And, okay, so I need to manage her reaction, and I'm doing a poor job. So she's fishing for approval, saying, you don't like it when I talk. You just want a subservient girl. And obviously she wants me to approve of this and say, not approve of that. She wants me to correct that mischaracterization, that blatant mischaracterization, and say, no, I do want you to talk. I do enjoy it when you talk. I do enjoy it when you voice your opinions, etc. So I've been kind of lazy in that department. That compounded with the fact that I called her a bitch when she was nagging me, and I said, don't act like a bitch. Stop nagging me. And we then I left it at that. She went home later after, it was later on down the road. Blah, blah, blah. Later on in the night, we had a good time. It's all forgotten. Then she goes home, and then that's when she starts having the emotional reactions and rethinking things in her head, because there's the emotional tie, plus now that she has an emotional investment in me, she's worried about what I think of her. She doesn't want to get her feelings hurt. It's a natural concern. So then she starts mulling over the night's events and thinking about what I said, calling her a bitch. And then that's compounded with the fact that I don't correct the mischaracterization that I don't want her to talk. So now she thinks he's calling me a bitch, and I said, you don't want me to talk. You just want me to be a subservient geisha girl. And he didn't respond to that. So obviously he doesn't want me to talk, and that's just not me. So I can't be in this relationship. I'm going to get my feelings hurt. So you see what she's doing. She's going all Dawson's Creek and all emotional in her head. So when I'm talking to her on the phone, tonight actually, we had this conversation about her thinking that I didn't approve of her. I wanted her to be silent, and that's not the type of person she is, so it's just not going to work out. But I know there's the emotional investment, because I'm at least the very basic things I'm doing, when I'm leading the interaction, even physically, I'm leading her physically. Like if I want to kiss her, I'll grab her by the back of the neck, not squeezing it like I'm going to break it, but just basically moving her the way I want to move her, arranging her with my hands physically, moving her head to the side when I want to kiss it sideways or something like that, along those lines. When we're intimate, I'm arranging her body the way I want it to be arranged. So I'm physically asserting my authority. So she in that sense is very turned on physically. So I know there's that emotional investment that's building, but then again, because I'm poorly managing her reactions, I'm being lazy. I know I could approve of her, and I know she needs that approval, but for whatever reason, I'm not doing it. Either I don't want to do things that people manipulate me into doing. Like if somebody's fishing for validation and saying, oh, you don't like me, you think I'm fat, I'll have a tendency to not correct that. I'll just purposely either not answer that and go, oh yeah, you could stand to lose a few. But in this case, if you're forming a functional relationship, you have to manage her reactions. Now, there's two things. There's two issues. You don't want her to keep mischaracterizing everything, and you have to keep constantly justifying yourself. That is also dysfunctional. That means she's just violating your authority and not listening to you. So if you tell her she's beautiful, you expect her to respect that. So if she keeps saying, oh, you think I'm ugly constantly, that means she's not respecting your authority, because didn't you already tell her she's beautiful? Now, granted, it's nice to hear it from time to time to reinforce it, just like if you're in a relationship with you're married to somebody, or you have a girlfriend you love, she likes to hear I love you. Not just once for her entire life, but maybe on a daily basis, or, often. It's good to repeat it, to apply pleasure, because she's meeting your expectations. She's doing what you require to make you happy, so you want to make her happy. So you tell her, I love you, constantly, right? And not in a row, but I mean at different occasions. You go in the kitchen, kiss her, I love you, in the morning, at night, whenever. So you're validating her. You're giving her your approval, showing her that you care. But it depends what your expectation is. Now, if your expectation, let's say she constantly nags you because she's insecure about her weight. Like she says, you think I'm fat, right? And you tell her, no, I like your weight, the way you are. I'll let you know if you're getting too fat, or don't worry, I'll let you know. Now, if the next day after that she says, oh, you think I'm fat, okay? In my mind, this would violate my expectations. I don't want her nagging me about this. This isn't like saying, oh, you don't love me enough, so you don't tell me I love you every day. Or you don't tell me as often as I would like to hear it. This is more along the lines of nagging to me, because I expect a weight issue to not be a constant not be something where I need to constantly give her approval for. So I would say this is an issue of violating my authority where you're constantly saying, oh, you think I'm fat. Stop nagging me. That would be an issue of me needing to address her reaction. So I would manage it and say, apply pain and say, look, stop acting like a bitch. Stop nagging me. I already said or I accept your weight the way you are. I like the way you look the way you are, or I think you're beautiful. And that's good enough. You need to listen to what I'm saying. Stop nagging me. Okay? I already said what I needed to say about that. End of discussion. So there I'm reasserting my authority. I'm reasserting my expectation for what she's allowed to say regarding that matter of her weight. And I already reaffirm my position that, look, I accept you at this weight. So now it's a matter of you respecting my authority and listening to what I said. If you respect me, what I say to you carries value, it carries weight with you. So if I say you're beautiful, and you respect my authority, that should matter to you. So that's an example of managing somebody's reaction, managing somebody's negative reaction to you, or managing, if somebody's giving you a positive reaction, great, you can apply pleasure and reinforce that by saying, hey, good job, or hey, I love you too, or hey, or patting them, or hugging them, or giving them a kiss, something to show them you approve of their positive reaction. But if somebody's giving you a negative reaction, you need to manage that so it doesn't become a problem, a festering problem later in the future, something you haven't addressed. So in this case, where she is saying, "Oh, you don't like me talking." Now, in this case, it's not necessarily a matter of her nagging me, but really, if I check, I haven't been approving of her when she's been deserving of approval. She's been meeting my expectations. So I should be, at that point, she's respecting my authority. She's listening to me. I know at that point, if a girl is listening to me, that means she respects my authority. Then it's okay to offer justifications, explanations for behavior. Whereas if she's initially doesn't respect me, it doesn't matter what justification or what explanation I offer. It's not going to be respected. So at that point, I'm going to care about preserving my authority versus trying to justify myself to her. Now that she has emotional investment in me, she respects me, she cares about my opinion, now it's okay to justify myself, my position, my behavior. So in this case, when she's saying, oh, you don't like it when I talk, you just want a subservient geisha girl, I could say no. I could clarify now. I can justify my position. Because she respects me, she's going to listen to what I have to say. So now it's okay for me to clarify. This is also validating her. This is approving of her because I am explaining something to her that shows that I respect her. So I'll say, no, I like hearing you talk. I like talking to you. I like spending time with you. Again, I'm approving of her. I like hearing these things you say. But there's certain things where you're trying to act like a dude, or you're trying to take control, or you're being a control freak that I don't like. That's when I want you to shut up. Stop acting like a guy. So I need to clarify my position. I need to clarify my expectations with her. This is auditing her reaction. This is managing her reaction to fit my expectations. I expect her to have a certain reaction when I say certain things. If I say shut up, I expect her to understand that I mean shut up and stop acting like a guy. That doesn't mean shut up, period. I expect her to know the difference, but I also need to clarify that. And that's good where I justify my position. She's listening to me, she respects me, so it's okay to justify my position. Just like anything, when they talk about communication, the basis of a good relationship is communication. I hear that cliche all the time. I fucking hate it. I don't want to talk about things in terms of communication. I like to be practical. What the fuck are we communicating about? That's what concerns me. But in a general sense, this is correct when they say that relationships depend on good communication. In this case, what they really mean is communicating your expectations. If I don't communicate this expectation that I have, and I don't correct her violation of my expectation, then I'm going to have a poor result as a result of me neglecting to maintain my authority, neglecting to apply pleasure when it's warranted. I'm undermining the relationship. So in this case, she feels that I don't appreciate her and that it's going to cause problems later on, so it's better if she doesn't get her heart broken by being too emotionally invested in me, because the more she hangs out with me, the more invested she's going to be, etc. Something along those lines. So the fact that I need to care about her or show her that I care more. Otherwise, she's going to feel heartbroken at the end of the day. So essentially, I realized I wasn't managing her reaction. So I just went over there. I talked to her first, and then I went over there And eventually, okay, let me back up a little bit. When she's on the phone, she was crying because when she's crying, that shows she's obviously emotionally invested. She's not going to cry if she's not emotionally invested. So this is kind of like a breakup. She's kind of saying we should break up. But if she really wants to break up, she's not going to cry. Crying shows that she's emotionally invested. She's hurt. This is hurting her. She doesn't want to do it. But the reason why she wants to break up in the first place is, again, because I'm not managing her reactions. I'm not applying pleasure when I should be applying pleasure. I'm not validating her, and I'm not managing her reaction when she's violating my expectation, when she's nagging me or something, or when she's mischaracterizing me. I'm not addressing that fully. So now I am actively managing my expectations. I have to basically do damage control, and I go ahead and do that, and it's fine. So, long story short, actually I wanted to tell you an exciting story, but I think I'm not going to tell you that story. Let's just suffice to say it worked out, okay? But it worked out in an exciting way that I can't tell you about, or that I won't tell you about, I should say. So the main point I wanted to make was that this depended on me managing expectations, and this carries over not just to while you're dating, but even while you're meeting somebody, especially when you're meeting somebody. Girls are gonna apply all kinds of negative associations with what you're saying, what you're doing, how you're behaving. They're gonna disapprove of certain things you're doing. They're gonna say, "Oh, you're not allowed to talk to me that way," or "You're supposed to be doing this, you're supposed to be doing that." And this is where you need to apply pleasure when warranted, when people are meeting your expectations, and apply pain when they're violating your expectations. And you need to manage them and say, "Look, this is how you should be reacting. This is what is called for in this situation." See, when I say that I like you, you're not supposed to say, "Oh, that's weird." You're supposed to say, "Oh, that's so sweet." See, so I'm managing her expectation. I'm telling her what she's doing wrong and what she should be doing right. I'm applying pleasure and applying pain. So this is all part of learning how to manage your expectations by leading others. This is part of leading others. This is part of exercising your authority to show others what direction they should be going in. And the more practice you have, the more knowledge you have of social interaction and of your role, your function as a man, the more competent you'll become at leading others in the direction you want them to go. For your relationship, for your friendships, for your working relationships, etc. This all applies anywhere. Like I said, we're talking about principles of social interaction, not situations. So just wanted to give you some practical knowledge regarding why it's important to manage the reactions of other people. Because this is also a current problem you've been experiencing where students are talking about applying pleasure. I need to apply pleasure, but they're not realizing it's equally important to apply pain when people are reacting to you. See, so many students are neurotic because they're not managing the negative reactions people are giving them. So they're going to be worried about, oh, what's the cool thing to say to this girl? What's the cool thing to do in front of this girl? Why do they have that question? Why do they have that worry? Why do they have that neurotic fear? Well, that's because they're not managing the negative reactions they're getting back. So that's why they're worried in the first place, because they've obviously done something before and not getting a good reaction. So now they're worried, oh, if I don't do X, Y, and Z right, the girl's not going to like me. The reason she's not liking you is because you're not leading her. You're not taking the initiative to manage her reaction. There's tons of things I said to girls that they hate, they don't like, whatever. And even some that are, many times they have a valid excuse or they have a valid criticism of what I'm saying that I shouldn't be saying something. Sometimes I say something sexual too early on when I just met them and it's not warranted. And it's a violation of their expectations and it's not something that's necessarily I'm doing that's functional. So they definitely have grounds to say it or make that criticism. It doesn't matter. I can still manage that negative reaction and turn it into something that I want that furthers my expectation, that furthers my goal of getting into a relationship with her. Let's say I have a habit of telling dirty jokes. Let's just say I do, assume I do. And I tell a dirty joke to a girl I just met. Well, if I was a student here, I would most likely not be telling those jokes because I'd be so nervous about the girl's reaction to those jokes. I wouldn't know what to do. But if I learn how to manage my expectations, I can tell the joke, get her bad reaction to it, and then manage that reaction, apply pain to that reaction, so then turn it into something I want, the type of reaction I want. Saying, oh, that's not a bad joke. You need a sense of humor. You need to laugh. When you hear something funny like that, you need to laugh. Oh, but that wasn't funny. Yes, it was. It's funny when you laugh. Like practice your laughing muscles. Ha ha ha. See? Now it's funny. There. All I'm doing is asserting my expectation and applying pain to her expectation. It doesn't have to necessarily make sense. Like that could have been a stupid joke. That is the most unfunny joke you've ever heard. It doesn't matter. I just need to concentrate on first learning how to manage my expectations. Then I can worry about creating this supreme joke that is logical, makes sense, and all that. So many of you guys are worried. Oh, does this joke make sense? Does what I'm saying make sense? Does what I'm doing make sense? Does how I'm behaving make sense? Is it logical? Is it coherent? Is it, will it please this other person I'm talking to? How can I please this other person? You have this unconscious thought constantly when you're meeting strangers, when you're talking to pretty girls, when you see pretty girls. How can I please her? How can I please her? How can I please her? You need to knock that shit off. You need to practice managing others' expectations. You need to practice managing others' reactions to you, to how you behave, what you say, what you do. Practice managing their behavior by managing their reactions to you. Okay, the other thing I wanted to quickly cover is G. Zyga. He's posting about his new infatuation with voice recording. And the more I read about his voice recording plan, the more skeptical I'm becoming of his motive or just his strategy. It just sounds too much like World of Warcraft nerdisms. Like this guy is gonna record himself and then play video of himself, and he thinks he's gonna, I could have conveyed my experience of a subject in a more visceral and direct manner. Also thinking about where I could have used volume, pitch, and rhythm variations in my voice. So he's getting very minute in categorizing everything he's doing. And this just seems like it's headed in a bad direction. I know with good intentions, he's got the intention of socializing, learning social skills, etc. But as we say, social interaction is not learned in a vacuum. It's so important to find somebody to practice with, whether it's your family, your friends, or even giving somebody the ebook and just having them read it and say, hey, what do you think of this? And just starting a conversation based on that with somebody in your class or somebody you know, that you can introduce them to these concepts. Or you can just start talking to somebody that is, it's at your job. You can practice expressing yourself with them. Practice managing your expectations with them. So it's so important to have that feedback, to have that reaction from the other person so that you learn how to manage your expectations while you're expressing yourself. I just don't see Zyga constantly, speaking into his microphone and then speaking into his video camera and improving his social interactions without the social element of the other person involved. I don't see it. I can see it to some degree, for sure. It's hard to tell if this is going to work or not because I don't really know what his intention is. Initially, I thought because based on LeBron Christ, his interest was, I guess, recording himself and then having me critique it. I can understand how that would be helpful. So I could point out certain things you're doing that you're maybe not aware of. But I don't understand where G. Zyger's taken it. It seems like he's taken it to a whole nother nerd level where he's going, I'm just going to, start recording myself and start videotaping myself and I'm going to improve myself by myself. I don't see that happening. Again, I could be wrong. I don't know exactly what his plan is, but just from the way he's speaking about it, I just have reservations about the way he's approaching it. But I'm going to let him play it out and see how it goes. What else? Oh, and I also almost forgot, the forum is now super sexy. As you've noticed, I've changed the masthead, the logo, left the icons, cleaned them up a little, gave a different color hue to the buttons, and used a different theme. I thought the other page was a little busy, and plus it's kind of redundant, like on the main homepage, manhood101.com, you see the older banner that we have, it's still up there. But I thought it would be kind of nice to have a new look. I kind of like the way this forum operates a little better, but I wanted to leave you with a choice of using either theme. So if you go to your control panel, click on control panel, click on board preferences, you'll see one is called Getaway and one is called something that starts with an F, I believe, which is the current one you're looking at. I made that the default theme. But if you like the old one, you can always switch back to that, and it should work just fine for you. So we got a new sexy jungly look. I like the tropical green look. I thought it would be an exciting change of pace for you. I don't know how you're adapting to it. Let me know. Anything else? Crack. What the fuck? This microphone level is so high. Input volume 8, 8, 8. Volume 8. Okay. pod fans. It's special. Hold on a second. I got him in the wrong thing. No wonder. Oh, there we go. It's Bogler Cast with special guest Bogler.
All right.
Bogler is taking over Manhood Academy podcast from now on. Instead of Professor Plum doing the podcast, it'll be Bogler 24/7. He'll be speaking about all the principles of social interaction and social confidence. Yo, what's up in the house? Bogler's got his Bono glasses on. He looks like he's just came back from his U2 concert.
U2 Tom Cruise is like a combination, but a brown version.
Exactly. You're a terrorist version of Bono.
It's funny. I like U2 music, and I also like Tom Cruise, like certain movies, so it's perfect.
It's funny that you
It's
mentioned
funny that
that.
you mentioned it. It's funny that you mentioned that.
It's very hilarious that you mentioned that.
Yes. The hilarious.
Why?
hilarious-
I have no idea, but it's very funny that you mentioned it.
Funny is more like, wow, how come you mentioned that exact thing? I like both of them.
Yes. Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, moving right along. You missed all the exciting stuff that I talked about in the first half of the cast that has to do with, you know what I want to talk about? Giza. Zyga.
I've been listening to his audios.
Okay, I checked out one of his audios, and I don't remember if it was bad or not. It wasn't as good as,
Not a serial killer?
well, it could be a serial killer by the way he speaks about his plan to improve his social interactions by, recording his voice every day until he gets the pitch, the tone, the inflection, just so, and then he starts with a video chat. I'm thinking, is this all going to take place in his room or in his basement? Like, he's just going to be the only guy there practicing for years until he perfects his social skills with nobody around, and then finally he emerges like a butterfly?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that logic.
In an ideal world, it seems possible.
I guess maybe if you're
Like
a
in a nerd
nerd.
mind, it totally seems possible.
Maybe if you're a nerd, it seems possible. It seems like you could, like those guys in Japan who made the Japanese sex doll, and instead of just having like a rubber mouth, now she talks, she has movement.
There you go.
Pretty soon they're gonna have like just build the actual girl. Maybe they'll actually like farm DNA from hot chicks, so they'll have like it'll be like a cyborg.
Clone Hotties. CloneHotties.com.
Clone hotties, and then you just upload your personality onto them, and that's it. You just make your girlfriend.
Sweet. That's like a nerd heaven. Wow.
There's pretty much no reason to study at Manhood Academy after that. That pretty much defeats the whole point.
Academy will be shut down.
This will be a ghost town. That defeats the whole point of even learning social skills. If you could just build your robot chick, that would be so. That would be interesting.
To deal with real life chicks. So
I wonder how your robot would function though. If you're dysfunctional, because to be a functional guy, you have to have authority. And as a nerd, just building a robot chick, you really don't need authority. So this chick is going to be attracted to you based on you being a pussy or a mangina basically, and you're not going to have to change, and she's still going to be attracted to you. So you're still going to be validated for that. I'm wondering what would that affect?
it's constant chocolate cake to you, though, to the guy.
I guess the real world consequence would come when you actually have to interact with other people who aren't the robots. Then you'd be in big trouble because she'd be validating you for all the wrong reasons, whereas everybody else is going to be saying, "Are you fucking out of your mind?"
Yeah, you could like crack a dumb joke and the robot would be like, you're so funny.
No, worse than that, you could say, "Honey, what do you want to do?" And she's going to suggest 20 different things, and then you're going to try it with like girls in your social circle, and they'll be like, "What are you talking about? I don't know." And you're like, "You're supposed to know. You're supposed to know what to do, honey."
Oh, yeah. You're asking me what to do?
You're asking me what to do. The robot doesn't ask me what to do. It just does it. It gives me suggestions.
At Manhood Academy, we train real-life girls to robots. No, just kidding.
I like when you say just kidding, just to denote that you're kidding, just in case I didn't catch it.
Just in case you're like, what the fuck does he say?
I'm glad that you really put up those little helpful sparks notes to all your
disclaimers
jokes.
at the end, just in case,
Very helpful. So, the Zyga, this guy's been posting his, I guess he got psyched up after
LeBron
hearing
James.
about LeBron Christ. Yes.
I wanted to post some too. I didn't get an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. But originally, LeBron Christ had posted his voice recording, and it wasn't too bad. He had decent voice inflection, and the only part where he really stalled out is when he didn't know where he's going. And that's a lot of guys, when they don't have direction, they don't know where they're going, so they go to that same monotone voice because they're in unsure territory and they don't know what to do, so they kind of, and then I'm talking like this, dead, without any voice inflection. But, when he's talking about his sports teams or whatever, he gets kind of excited, like a little jolt of arousal, a little jolt of excitement comes into his voice, a little emotion.
Like my iPhone excitement.
Exactly. Kind of like right now when you're talking to me, it's almost like you have a little boner. You got a little Indian boner, you're all excited, or talking to a buddy, and then you're, woo!
But then I lack direction. I'm like, sometimes I don't know what to do.
Yeah, but see, even now, when you say you don't know what to do, you're confident in saying that. That's really the difference. Is you could talk to me and you sound fine, even though you say you don't know what to do. It's just like if I go to In-N-Out Burger, or no, let's say I go to McDonald's and I go, "Hey, Bogler, I don't know what I want to eat," but I'm not trying to justify myself to you, so I'm not worried about how I sound. I'm not trying to monitor my voice and worry about how you're going to react to me if you're going to disapprove of me saying that.
It's not that much a monitor. It's more like when should I speak? How much should I speak? Those kind of things.
Okay. So, but, well, my point was with LeBron Christ is, when he's talking about football, he's kind of comfortable talking about that. So he gets up a little emotion, he's a little excited, and he gets his normal voice inflection, kind of like when you're talking to your buddy. Like, you're talking to me, we know each other for a while, you've been in class for a while, for years and years, and now you're comfortable with a professor, whereas before you were like a little girl,
Yeah, all shy.
You're all shy, couldn't talk. Now you're fine. It's like you're talking to your buddy. And even if you don't know something, still you could be definite with your buddy. You could exercise good expression. You could express yourself very well, even if you don't know what you're talking about. For instance, if you don't know what to order at a restaurant, you say, "I don't know what to order at a restaurant." Yeah, I'm using my emotion. I'm using my voice inflection. I'm conveying my thought to you. I'm letting you into my experience and my confusion. But it's still attractive because I'm not trying to meet your expectations. I'm still meeting my expectations. Like, it's okay for me to be confused and not know what I want, but I'm not trying to change my expression to suit your expectations of me. I'm not trying to change my expectations.
So I'm not trying to sound cool to you. Okay.
You're not trying to be a cool fag, basically, like you usually do.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm much more open with paper, though.
Yeah, buddy paper, yes. I would say that, too. Okay, so Zyga got the idea to also record his voice, and I listened to some of it. I don't remember exactly what it sounded like. Maybe we should play some of it.
White guy speaking from wherever, Canada.
I'm going to play a little bit of it, and while I play it, wait, where's his thing at? Is it in his...
his expression post.
Okay, in the expression post. I'm looking at the student lounge, wrong section. Conveying your... Oh, by the way, look how sexy the forum is now.
I reverted back to the old one.
No, you asshole. Knew it. I knew you liked the old one.
I like old familiar things.
Yeah, I figure, I guess somebody would go back to the old forum, but
yeah, I'm like one of the
I love the new forum. The buttons are so much sexier. Let's see, what was I going to ask you about? Oh, yeah, the bottom of the chat room in the old forum, is it busting out the side now? Because I made it like 900 pixels wide.
No, it's in line with everything else.
It still fits?
Yeah.
Because I thought the chat room would be too wide for the forum.
I'm using Chrome on a Mac and it is sweet.
So it still fits in the old template, in the old theme?
Yes, it does, yes. Everything is in line.
Interesting. Well, I'm looking at the sexy new theme. It's like a jungle theme. I love it.
I like it, but in the old one, the bright red lights are very apparent to me.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I've actually heightened the red color of the new post. So this is actually brighter red now. I've totally souped up the forum. It's amazingly
I'm gonna have to check
sexy.
it out again now. Maybe you're convincing me.
Okay, let me go grab the power cord. I got the low battery notice. Be right back.
Yeah.
Go entertain people for a second.
Entertain. Okay, well, I could try to do a live podcast. I should just play the one that I recorded. I do pretty well when I record a podcast by myself. I start speaking slower and more deliberated. It kind of sounds more thoughtful when I don't have somebody else there. I wish I spoke like that all the time. It's like,
You're doing really well. Everybody's asleep. You're doing an excellent job. Okay, I've plugged in now. You can shut up. Okay, back to the conversation. Where is it? The conversation assignment, Bogglers. Zyga's Peak into Delirium. The way that these guys name their posts, it's incredible to me. Okay, so let's go to the last post in here. I guess it is here. I love this guy. He talks about, you saw his project. This guy must be uber nerd where he's...
because I was like, wow, you can enter all your stuff and see your progress, get like...
I mean, PHP, the BB board, like, just fixing up this board is complex enough. I can't imagine, like, programming the whole thing, SQL, HTML, CSS, PHP. This guy must be nuts. And I didn't even understand his thing. I went to the site to check out the skills thing. It looks like, you're playing either an advanced... It looks like you're playing an advanced version of a Pokemon game, or you're playing World of Warcraft. I didn't understand what was going on there. And
it's not very clearly organized and laid out. Like, say the Manhood 101 forum, you know exactly like where things are.
It sounds like you put in some like numbers, like your conversational hit points are 5 and your charisma's 8 and your agility 7, and then it spits out at the end. He says, I just gained like 3 experience points toward my conversation skill. I mean, this is just pure insanity to me. So, okay, I want you to shut up because we're going to hear now Zyga, okay? And I'm actually just going to splice it in. So I'm going to going to cut you off for 1 second. I'm going to stop this one. Beep. Don't talk.
LeBron, I'll try this audio version of the expression practice training. While I had the idea to do it before, like I think several other people on the forum, LeBron really, I guess, gave me the motivation to try. It's really obvious when you write the expression exercise that although you're faced with the difficulty of having to improvise, or rather let thoughts flow freely from your mind to the page,
And we're back on. Okay, I just played a section of G. Zyga's MP3 of his voice, and I had to stop it because I was falling asleep. He sounds kind of like a doctor, like he's explaining to you, you know, you need to have your tonsils removed. Bogler, you seem to have a sore throat, and you seem to have a little bit of a temperature, and I feel like we should remove your tonsils, and then perhaps you'll have to stay at the hospital, and you'll be able to eat hospital food. And so it's just like this kind of this kind of cadence, this kind of dull, non-inflected cadence that just seems to say, I'm worried about what you're thinking about me right now. And the other part is it's, you know, he's unfamiliar with recording himself, number one, so there's a little fear there. But again, it's okay to be afraid of things or confused of things, but you can still express yourself well while you're confused or while you're afraid. I would say, inflection-wise, tone-wise, it's poor expression, even though he is explaining something. It's like, when I hear that voice, I'm not thrilled at all to talk to that person. It just sounds like a doctor talking, me droning on in a kind of a clinical tone like this, over and over, in this type of cadence, without any inflection, and it seems like everything has equal importance, and nothing is there to differentiate between what is important to me, what is meaningful to me, and what is mundane, and what is unimportant. So, again, it's that type of tone. There's just like no real excitement. I don't enter into his experience. I don't even want to enter into that experience. It puts me to sleep. I don't think there's really any problems with his voice per se. The sound of his voice. It's just that I think with more comfort, I'm sure maybe with his friends he sounds a little different, or when he's excited about something he sounds a little different, or when he's enthusiastic about something, he's freer with his expression.
For some reason, I can't picture him laughing yet.
Ha ha ha! That was an amusing joke. Sounds like a Stephen Hawking robot. That was an amusing joke, Bogler, that you told me 2.5 seconds ago.
It was an observation, and
so I was equal parts fascinated and equal parts disturbed by his conversation skill assessment machine that he created, his cyborg, his T2, his T7, whatever, T41000. And
I thought it was supposed to be like a World of Warcraft kind of thing, skill level.
Yeah, I think his whole approach is insanity, and I think the more that you socialize, I think like isolating yourself like that and assuming you're going to just record yourself and videotape yourself and improve that way without the outside feedback, without the scrutiny of another person, without the socialization element of the other person there, I think that's very easy to get into crazy territory or crazy cat lady territory where there's nobody to check your thoughts or concepts. Like his idea seems like totally normal to him, whereas to an outside observer, me, having some experience with socialization, I could just picture people like either laughing or going insane or, oh wait, Tugger's on. Hold on, Tugs.
He's right now like us.
I want to try something. Okay, so it just seems like he's not aware of that. Without that social element, the other critical social element, not only does he not get the practice to manage the other person's reaction to what he's saying, but he doesn't even have the reaction. So he has nothing to, he has no input. Nobody's telling him that sounds crazy or that sounds bizarre, or that sounds weird, or that sounds this or that. There's no feedback. So I don't know how far he's going to get with this approach of recording himself and videotaping himself and thinking he's going to socialize with himself. I'm not sure if that's his plan. He hasn't made it so clear that I know exactly what he's doing, so I'm going to let him do what he's doing until I see definitely otherwise that this is just silly. But just from the description alone, it sounds like it's craziness.
What about just opening your mouth and talking, like getting comfortable, like I don't know any of this stuff.
Talking with yourself. I mean, it's hard enough, me, as a social person, talking to myself, doing a podcast, doing an hour, doing 10 minutes is tough. I mean, at the very least, you might not be that socially competent, but you are to a certain extent, and even if you just were totally incompetent, I could at least use you as a sounding board, ask you questions, and the fact that you respond gives me the opportunity to speak, and it even is a stimulus for me to speak. Like, without just a response, even if it's just a robot, I'm speaking to a Japanese sex toy, it's Japanese sex robot, that would be better than just speaking to myself. So I think it's always helpful, and it's even necessary to have that other person there, regardless of how competent they are socially.
What about, say you're driving somewhere and you want to do something live, you're wearing a microphone to your ear, and
again, if you want to be a nerd, that's fine. Yeah, I'm sure you're curious about it. It's just like saying, what about if I film myself pissing in the toilet? I mean, it's just the thought of it is just bizarre. Like you're driving in a car, taping yourself. I guess in a sense, it's hard to fault your intention, or hard to fault even your plan, because you've grown up in an extreme situation under feminism, which is not very helpful to your social interaction anyway. So it's not like there's any clubs out there or any resources you have to learn social interaction. So maybe it is a groundbreaking technique or something. I'm very skeptical, very doubtful of it, just from what I know of social interaction, that you need that other person there. But if you want to try it, if you want to experiment, I'm more than happy to watch you make a fail blog or make a YouTube video. And I'm just picturing all the well-intentioned, good-intentioned people posting themselves, making Wright brothers paper wings and trying to fly off the roof and landing on their head. This sounds like one of those ideas. But like I said, initially when LeBron Christ, introduced this idea of recording his voice, I initially thought it was, so he could record his voice and have one of the instructors critique it, what's going on, because you can't, unless, again, there's that feedback. And it makes sense when he's asking another person to critique him to get that feedback. That makes sense to me, because that's, just like you and me talking right now. I can give you feedback if there's a problem. But to do it yourself, by yourself, and think you're going to improve, I think is just insanity, especially if you're not socially competent. But, he might, I don't know his purpose. He might be recording them to share with everybody so that he can get the feedback. That might be it. So it might be perfectly fine. But the way he's talking about it, I don't know if you can get the sense of the nerdiness just by the way it's being expressed. Okay, I'm going to say, hold on, let me ask, Tugly.
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 My favorite buddy. I'm having so many buddies at M101.
I'm going to see if I can actually interview him for a second.
Okay.
Are you ready for your podcast interview? Beep.
Hope he's looking at the screen and not beating off the porn.
Did you say beating off the porn under your breath?
Yes.
You little sly Indian guy, you.
Initially, towards the end, I was
You like to say seedy information in a very covert, sneaky way.
Yes. Why is that? What is your reason?
That you're a sneaky Indian.
Sneaky.
Nobody's found the Chai Walla clip yet. Computer G, look at it, Jai.
Chaiwala? Maybe I'll give it a shot later.
Who has the world record for, what is the question? I don't even know the question. Who has the world record for crickets at bat?
See, this thing bothers me.
Jacques
I don't know
Hobbs.
if I remember
Ricky
parts of the
Ponting
movie.
or Jacques Hobbs.
You do it, or unless you watch movies multiple times.
Say Ricky Ponting or Jacques Hobbs.
You remember parts of movies really well.
Come on. Bogler, I want to hear you say it. Ricky Ponting or Jacques Hobbs.
Ricky Ponting or Jack Hobbs.
You sound like an American guy trying to imitate an Indian accent.
But I'm trying to. Ricky Ponting
Ricky Ponting or
Ricky
Jacques
Ponting.
Hobbs.
or Jack Hobbs. Is that better? Is that on the money?
I sound more Indian than you. That's the sad thing.
Yeah, how do you manage that?
Ricky Ponting or Jacques Hobbs.
Hold on, let me try. Ricky Ponting or Jack Hobbs.
Ricky Ponting or Jack Hobbs. Sound like you're wearing a helmet. What are you doing?
Why can't I do
Ricky
it anymore?
Ponting. You have to go deep. You have to get your deep voice first of all. Ricky Ponting or Jacques Hobbs.
Ricky Ponting or Jack Hobbs. Oh, fuck. I think I have a halfway accent. I can neither go.
You have a regular Indian accent right now. If you would just speak in your regular Indian voice, that'd be perfect.
Ricky Ponting or Jack Hobbs. Ricky Ponting or Jack. I have to say it
You're
really
so
fast.
terrible. You're so terrible. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to play this clip and see if it sounds like it. Let me see here. Ricky Ponting or Jacques Hobbs. Slumdog.
You really like that guy.
Oh, I love this clip. You know what? I didn't like it. I didn't even know I liked it until the dice was like, this is my favorite part. And he says, Ricky Ponting goes, Jacobs. And then it struck me as funny. Before this, I just glossed over it.
Oh, yeah?
It's
Oh, you
weird.
like that?
It's weird how somebody notices something and they point it out to you, and then you just like glom onto it. You're like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing.
I think you do that all the time to people on the forum.
How so?
With your movies thing, with the observations you made, and then people watch it like,
Oh my gosh! Oh shit! He's like, oh shit! Tiger's like, oh shit, I'm gonna be interviewed, oh no! Oh shit!
Tuggy. Tuggy, tuggy, woogie.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. He says, no, not ready. Okay, cool, you're ready. Get, PM me your Gmail, Addy. And get on Gmail.
I don't know if he's that computer savvy.
What the? Or are you computer unsavvy?
Oh, no, he does. He just wrote
Oh,
for
okay.
sure.
Oh, is that what he wrote?
He wrote full SHO.
Oh, he wrote for show. Is that the thing that I'm seeing on my screen too?
Yeah.
You are such an Indian.
What do you mean?
How wouldn't I know that? I'm looking at the same screen as you. You are such an Indian.
I get excited.
So you get so excited about things. You do what, like, you know, people who have discovered TV for the first time. Look at the TV I'm seeing. The pictures that are coming out at me. It's like these electronic images on the screen are facing me, and they're shining in my eyes, and I take them in and I enjoy it.
Well, I do get excited.
You make me cringe sometimes. Like, you talk about social interaction, like, you know what? You remind me of High School 101 when he says, like, I don't understand. I guess since they're fellow students, I don't care what they talk about. They're both learning. They're at a beginner level. But him and Travo, when they're talking, they call each other now, and it's almost. I don't want to criticize. This is not a criticism. This is just funny to me. I'm just giving you my perspective. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's hilarious that he's talking to him about talking to him. Like, we're calling each other, and I'm giving you pleasure. And it's a pleasurable experience we're having together. It's like he's giving him a blowjob and talking about the blowjob he's giving. It's like, my God, all right.
Me and him spoke. We were kind of talking like that too. I was like,
you guys have this faggy Indian, like, you don't see how bizarre that is. I mean, we all do it to a certain extent. Like, if we're eating ice cream, we go, oh, this ice cream's so amazing, da-da-da-da. So I understand that. I'm not trying to fault you for it.
The conversation was so good.
I'm not trying to fault you for it. It's just very hilarious to me.
But now when I see your point, then, like, to me, somebody has to point out things, then I'm like...
It's like when we talk about a common joke in America, like a knock-knock joke, and you're an Indian going, oh, so I say, who's there? And then you say the joke part, and then I respond to the joke, and then we have a humorous exchange, and we make quips with each other, and then we enjoy each other's company through the joke, and we both laugh. It's like explaining to death the magical part of the joke.
That's like the guy in Family Guy. Remember they had the foreigner guy?
Yes,
at Peter's office?
Exactly. I got one new message.
Tagu calls me Data for Data from Star Wars or Star Trek or something.
How do I get to my messages? Oh, I love this new little thing, except it doesn't glare at me. The message should say I have a new message. It should be big and glaring, but it's not big and glaring. It's just like this little notification that says, oh, by the way, you have a message.
Well, it was glaring on the old forum.
I know, on the old one, it just like took up the whole screen. That's what I liked about it. But what can you do? Maybe this is just supposed to be so sophisticated, it's just supposed to make like a tiny little mention.
Why are you going all hippie style? I'm curious.
Why am I going all hippie style? Oh, here we go.
The trees and the nature. And
because it's so sexy looking. It's just amazing. It's
nice,
like, it's tropical. It soothes me, all the trees, the jungle.
I'm just wondering what inspired you to do it. Or you just saw it, hey, I should try this.
Once I just saw it, I knew that was it. I just saw the look of it, of the template, and I said, that's it. I have to do it. Okay, so let me put this new contact on here.
I like to constantly improve things.
Boop. Okay. Oh, you know what? What was his name before? Rumble. I'm not going to call him Tugger. I can't stand calling him Tugger. I like calling him Rumble.
I know his name. It has a funny name.
Okay. I'm going to get rid of you. I'll come back to you in a second. Stay ready. Stay on guard.
All right. I want to hear it, though.
I don't think we can chat all at once, so you're going to have to...
Conference. I wonder how we can do that.
I don't think we can. Why don't you hang tight for a second? If you can figure it out in your Indian brain, go research it on Google.
Skype.
Go away. Okay, so I've gotten rid of the boggler. And we're going to try and see if we can contact. Let's see if we can contact Rumble in the Bronx. Rumble! Rumble! How the fuck do I even get to Rumble? Oh, why does everything have to be so complex? Why can't things be easy? Rumble! And you-hoo. Okay. I'm sending it off to Rumble. Woohoo! How the fuck do I get this chat going? Rumble, I just want to talk to you. I just want to see how you're doing, sir. I just want to say hi, and this fucking Gmail chat won't let me say hi to you. Why is it trying to hide me from you? Why can't it just cooperate and say, Rumble wants to talk to you? Rumble wishes to enjoy a conversation with you. Okay. I'm stumped. I am completely stumped. Okay, let me try this, because I did it simply with Bogler. How did I do with Bogler? Let me try and troubleshoot it with Bogler. Okay, so I clicked on Bogler's name, and I said, hey, Bogler. Oh, that's why it came up with a little fuckaroo chat mode. Okay, that's why it came up with an instant little chat mode. All right, so somehow I have to go Rumble. Oh, there we go. I got it. Huh. Google is such a fucking pain in the ass. All you have to do is scroll over Bogler's name and the chat icon. What's that word called where it gives you option? Option, exactly. The chat icon option pops up. Oh, here we go. Chat with little chatter. Rumbler. He's on. Okay. Oh, Rumbler. Turn on your mic. Oh, Rumbler. Oh, Rumbler. Click here to voice video chat Rumbler. Oh, Rumbler. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, Rumbledor. You whore. I don't think this thing has a mic, so I need to call him a whore first. Then I need to click around on the little chat bubble here. Haha, this is a piece of shit. I don't think this thing has a mic. Well, that's not very helpful. Plus, my girlie is in the room and we're watching Ray Bradbury. That's even better. That's even better. Activate that mic. I must interview you for 5 minutes while Bogler, I gotta make up something about Bogler. Bogler makes a ham sandwich. I'm not sure this excuse will convince Rumbler. Can I get an interview tomorrow? Oh, hell no. Ha ha. I'm saying that Rumbler is a little nervous. He's a little intimidated because he's talking to one of his idols, Brad Pitt, the Brad Pitt of the internet. He's talking to the Brad Pitt of the internet, or pondering the possibility of talking to the Brad Pitt of the internet. And so it's just intimidating the urine out of his colon and just right into his pants. His pants are all wet right now. That's my guess. That's my hunch. But he's got his girl at his side. He's got a security blanket. They're watching a movie, he says, and he should be okay to chat. Come on, Rumble. Come on, Rumbler. Get it together. Snap out of it. This may be futility. Come on, come on. It says Rumbler's typing. I like that little thing that Gmail does. It says, the other person is typing, ... So you're all excited. They're going to type something exciting and sexy. Oh, I can't wait to see what you're typing. It's been so long. Fuck, man, I want to. I can't right now. You're an American. Not an American't. Cunt. I just switched the little adage. I just personalized that little slogan, that little saying. You're an American, not an Americant. So humorous. Such a sly little play on words. This may be a lost cause, trying to get Rumbler to chat. This could be time. Okay, I could probably still talk to Nikhil a lot. I could still talk to you. Let's see. I can get on tomorrow. I can't send it right now. Okay, sir. Yeah, I can't get on today. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, excuses, right? We're going to go back to our go-to guy, Bogler. Oh, Boggles. Oh, Boggles. Put your... Rumble says, oh, I'm really going to be on the podcast? Put your urine back in your penis. You'll be fine. Meanwhile, Bogler's off to YouPorn, and so he can't answer his chat anymore. I better have a Mickey Mouse voice too, though. They're gonna. He wants a sexy Mickey Mouse voice, a high pitched voice. He wants me to alter his voice. You're gonna have a Shrek. You're gonna have a Shrek voice. Boom. Bogler.
Hey.
While you're away on
how to do a conference.
While you were away on YouPorn, we could not get Rumble. He's making some silly excuse about him not having a mic. He's not ready. He's not prepared. He doesn't have his makeup on.
I knew it.
Totally naked, etc.
I figured out how to do the conference in the meantime.
You did?
Yeah,
Well,
you can just add the name, like you click on that plus with the human icon,
yeah.
and then you can add the other person to this.
Oh, we can. Interesting.
Yeah,
That
right.
is an interesting concept. Yeah, it says I can add people to this chat. How
Yeah.
very interesting.
I like to figure these things out.
Too bad. He's not going to be on the chat. Okay, so back to where we were. Where do we leave off, Boggles?
Oh, gosh. You were all talking about how the Indians get fined talking about talking. So
Talking about talking. So amusing. Okay.
Yes.
Faggles. What else were we going to talk about? Okay, so we talked about the
Expression, the voice.
expression, students recording their voice to try and learn how to improve their expression. Let's see, what else? We covered, prior to you being here, I covered a lot about managing the other person's reaction to what you're saying, because so many of you students are worried about, like, what are you going to say to the girl? What are you going to say to the guy? What are you going to say to this other person? You're so worried and so neurotic about what's the right thing to open with, what's the right thing to begin the conversation. Once I start the conversation, then where do I go from there? So you're so neurotically worried about meeting the other person's expectations, you can't think of anything to say. You can't. You're so worried about saying the wrong thing, you stop saying anything. And I really covered this. The problem here is that you guys aren't practicing managing the other person's reactions to what you're saying. It's not necessarily worrying so much about saying the cool thing, but learning how to manage the other person's reaction so that they will assign you cool value, will assign you cool points, will think you're cool regardless of what you're saying.
Yeah, I can think of a certain example. Like if this girl is like, "Oh, that's saying that's creepy," and like I tell her, "Hey, you saying that's creepy makes it creepy."
Yeah, exactly. That type of thing, where you say something, even if it is blatantly creepy to the girl, it could be or it could or couldn't be, it might or it might not be, but it's so much more important to manage her reaction to what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
Especially with like girls I'm dating, I have a habit of just being almost, I wouldn't say almost, but I am too much when I talk about like sexual things or just talk about anything that's on my mind, whether it's appropriate or not. I'm just bringing it up, and a lot of times I'll have a reaction like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you said that. Oh, that's so perverted," or "Oh, you're so weird," or "Oh, that's so crazy. I can't believe you're saying that."
Oh, you have to make it okay for her, right? Like
Yeah, but so instead of worrying about changing what I'm saying and trying to switch my expectations and make them match hers, I'm always managing her expectations so that I can just basically say what I want to say and then have her change her reaction to what I'm saying. It's much easier to change her reaction to what I'm saying than to constantly police myself and worry if I'm saying the wrong thing.
Yeah. Rather her catch on to you than you slow down.
Yes. Because it's going to go that way anyway. It's either going to be you controlling this conversation or the other person is going to control the conversation. It's never going to be a neutral conversation. One person is going to be dictating how that conversation goes. So why not you?
Exactly. The more the more, yeah.
Why not you, Bogler? Why not you saying Ricky Ponting or Jacques Hobbs?
In due time.
You have to be the show host.
Yes, I am the director. She's the actor.
Exactly. Your expression, like if we recorded us talking, I would say your expression's fine. Your voice inflection, whatever. Practice. I should say not your whole expression, but at least physically, you sound fine. You have inflection in your voice. You're expressing. Let's see. I'm not talking about the content, but your inflection is there. It's interesting. It shows that you care about certain things and other things you find less important. So I see some variety in your voice, not just for the sake of variety. A lot of people get caught up in just because we're talking about these things separately, like hand motions, using your hands, waving your arms around. The point is not to wave your arms around for variety. The point is that you can speak with your hands to emphasize things you want to say. It's just like your voice inflection. If I think this is important, like I'm Captain Kirk, then I'm emphasizing every little point, right? So where you punctuate your sentences with your voice, I would say you're fine in that regard. So now the only thing you really have to work on is managing your expectations. I think your expression is good enough. It's not so problematic. it becomes problematic when you start trying to meet the other person's expectation. Then you sound like a fag. Then you definitely sound like Indian fag. Like just now, okay.
Well, because I was thinking of something.
Yeah, I understand that, but sometimes you tend to just get stuck in that type of voice where you're just very passive, and it becomes very bland. It's like the doctor voice. It's like listening to a doctor tell you a diagnosis. They're just trained to calm you, soothe you, put you to sleep in a very monotone voice.
Let's have some yogurt.
Let's have some yogurt and some fun times.
Yeah.
It would be fun to date you. We would have a lot of good times. So let's have some yogurt. You know what? It would be fun to date you. I would enjoy asking you out. See those things where I'm putting emphasis on certain words?
Yes.
I'm not trying to rush through. I'm like, look, I like you. I think you are a sexy person. You turn me on. You make me happy. I like talking to you.
The slow and deliberate, having an expectation.
Well, it's so deliberate, but it doesn't necessarily have to be slow. I could speed it up. I could say, look, I like you. I really enjoy your company. But it's even better if you could slow it down and enunciate your words. You're not so nervous. You could take your time because you're not so worried about what the other person's thinking of you that you have to speed through everything. You could say, look, I like you. I like talking to you. It's enjoyable to me. This is a very pleasant, enjoyable expression because when I'm expressing that I like talking, Bogler, it's fun talking to you. You're a fun guy. You are entertaining to me. There's inflection in my voice. There's some enthusiasm. There's some emotion. You see that certain things actually move me. When I'm speaking about my enjoyment of talking to you, you're actually convinced. You are seeing how I'm enjoying you versus, Bogler, you're fun to talk to. I enjoy you. It is a great experience. Right.
It's much more natural and something, yes, I want to
It sounds natural. You could sound, it's funny how, people can naturally, not really naturally, but habitually talk a certain way. Like, hey, I had a really good time playing Halo. It was really fun. And they habitually do that just because it's their habit.
Yes.
They're so neurotic about what people think of them that they just adopt this monotone voice. Yeah, it was good hanging out. We should do it again. Yeah, that would be fun. Versus hearing a voice that is attractive. It's like you don't necessarily pay attention to the voice, the cadence. Whereas if somebody is speaking unnaturally or speaking in an unattractive manner, it's easier to pick out. Like if I just keep talking like this, it's easy to pick out the monotone and the cadence. It's all the same.
Yes.
Whereas if I just talk to you, Bogler, I'm having a good time talking to you. It's really fun. It's enjoyable.
Well, because I'm not focusing on picking out.
Yeah, you're not. Well, that part isn't glaring. It's like a natural groove to your ear. It's an attractive piece of music to your ear.
Yeah, it doesn't sound off.
So instead of worrying about now is my voice, you're actually being moved by my words. You're entering into the experience of my words. What I'm conveying to you is actually being absorbed into you instead of you just being. Instead of absorbing my experience, if I just speak in a monotone like this, you lose the enjoyment of the experience.
Yes,
it's like a buffer. It's like a buffer's put in the way. I'm trying to convey the experience, and that voice tone is a buffer in the way.
The analogy, yes.
It's like a block. Analogybook.com. We're going to put all my analogies together in analogybook.com to rival Facebook. I have 500 billion members worldwide. Everybody can just access one of these insane analogies.
I was talking to this one chick online, actually, on cam, and first time it went really well, and second time, I was like, I got bored, because she's not physically here, the motivation to keep...
On the cam? You're like, yeah, baby.
The first one, it was like, oh, I was all excited, but then I was like, she's not here, she's so far away, I was losing the motivation to keep...
You should push the boundaries. That's where you have to get titties out if she's far away. She's in India, you gotta see the titties, you gotta be motivated. You gotta think, what's gonna motivate me to talk to this person on cam? Well, I don't want to chat about the weather. Why am I chatting to them? Show me your titties, right? Now I'm going to manage your reaction. I don't want to talk to her about, about
Facebook or
Facebook.
Something.
I don't want to find out how her day went.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, it started going that way. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Well, it started going that way because she was leading the conversation. You weren't, and you allowed it. That's why. So it's really your fault.
Yes, no, it was. I was realizing it after it happened. I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah, but you could change it if you realize if you realize it while it's happening, you could do something about it. Okay.
I was thinking.
You little Bono with your yellow glasses. I like those yellow glasses. You should wear those from now on. Those are very sexy.
These are only for computer usage, though.
I wonder if we could add Dr. Ladice to this chat.
Yeah, let's try the conference.
Okay, I'm gonna add people to this chat.
Wait, I don't have that.
Add people to this chat. It just says add people, and then it has a little box. Yo. Oh, maybe I have to do invite. There we go. I did an invite. I sent off the invite.
cool if this works. I know you could do it in Skype. Gmail needs to catch up.
What the mother?
In Skype, you could do a 10-way.
10-way. A 10-way bukkake party. I wonder if I can add him as voice in here.
Let's see.
I wonder if it's even possible. Add people to this chat.
He already has like some video icon.
Well, when I say add people to this chat, it has just like a little blank glowing box, and I'm supposed to type a name in there, or what?
Yeah, I guess that's
No.
what
You're supposed to type some word in there, and then click invite, and then you see the little invite with the other word. Hey, yo, man.
Where do you type which user that you want?
I'm talking with Boggles and seeing if we can partay. Chat. Woohoo.
I haven't spoken to that guy in so long.
What kind of gay nerve activity have we created where we are now chatting on the computer instead of chatting in person? This is just the gayness of technology. This is the gayness of the internet. This is why the internet is such a I can has cheeseburger fail. The internet is only good for cheeseburger. I can has cheeseburger. Other than that, no point.
Yeah, instead of in person, we're doing video.
We're doing the video.
It's not like we're in
Instead of
different
in person,
countries.
we're doing the video. Okay, anything else we need to cover? Let's see, we covered that. We covered any of the podcast? I wanted to cover some. Let me check my podcast notes. Hold on.
Well, doing I confronted one dude at my work. I noticed like when I'm trying to confront somebody and like telling you, I don't like you doing this, you're mocking me, I don't like that. Like my emotions are not in check. Like I lose. It's like the other person can see. I'm like.
Well, because you don't manage your expectations, you let things boil over. So they come to a boiling point. So like even with your emotions, if you're not getting your expectations met, you're experiencing frustration. So you like to address things after the point where you're so frustrated you have like no choice, or you're at a wall. And you're like, now I gotta address it because I'm about to kill somebody. So you're addressing it at the wrong point. You're addressing it at the boiling over point.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there who have been in that state and now have to address it. I guess they have to go through that uncomfortable.
Well, it'd be better if you addressed the problem while it was happening, but you're letting it build up until it's like several problems, and you got resentment on top of anger, and now you're trying to express yourself competently, coherently, where you have emotional build up and you're ready to kill somebody. It's very difficult at that point. So how about an ounce of prevention instead of a pound of cure?
Okay. Ounce of prevention, pound of cure. I like that.
How about when this guy is doing something, you pull out your 6-gun, your 2 fingers, and say, "Do it my way." You give the middle finger, or you say, "No. What was it? I forgot. Was it the thumb?
Fuck off or meet my expectations.
Meet my expectations. Number 1. That's your pointer index finger, or fuck you, fuck off, which is your middle finger. So that's your scissors. Whenever you play rock paper scissors, you always pull the scissors. That's your reminder. The 2 choices you give people. You just hold your 2 fingers. You say, "Look, do it my way. Hold up your pointer finger, or you can fuck off, or you hold up your middle finger." That's your reminder. You always forget that.
Trying to keep it more in mind now.
You should get a tattoo of that on your arm.
I know.
Yeah, just the 2 little pointer finger and your middle
Put on
finger.
my forearm here.
Put it on your forearm so you can reference it like a little cheat sheet.
Okay.
Let's see what we got in the podcast notes.
Okay. Let's do that.
Pain is conserved. Oh, this is like some kind of deep thought. Pain is conserved, like energy. It is not created or destroyed. It happens along with pleasure one way or another. It can't be avoided or only hastened or delayed.
I had a question.
Yes.
So you say it's okay to accept yourself the way, like, and then it takes out the pressure.
You fucking just interrupted my amazingly pristine, deep thought with this
We'll get
nonsense.
to it. We'll definitely get to it.
Okay, let's go. Go ahead.
When you said when you accept yourself as a dork or whatever, you don't have this extra pressure. Always trying to sound cool and act cool on people, and I can see that it's like, but it's like at the same time, even though you accept yourself as a dork, you still value your expectations.
Okay.
Right? So you accept yourself as a dork, but you still value your expectations.
You accept yourself in the dark or as a dork?
As
a dork in the dark. A dork in the dark.
But you still value your expectations. So sure, you're like a
You
dork.
accept yourself as a dork in the dark.
So you're a dorky guy who values his expectations. I'm just trying to put things together.
Okay, and?
That was what I think, and I wanted your commentary on that. So you're a dorky guy who values your expectations, if you are a dork.
The point is not to concentrate on the dork part. The point is to accept that you have dysfunctional outlooks or a dysfunctional behavior, and you're now trying to correct that behavior, or you're trying to improve your expression.
Okay.
Whereas if you don't accept the behavior, you're going to be more frustrated when you're trying to improve that expression, because really you don't think there's any need for improvement. You think you're fine, and you're trying to practice to get better, it's going to be frustrating when you fail because you think, oh, I should already be there. I should already be able to do that. I should already be able to talk to people. I should already be able to talk to girls. And yet I can't. Well, the real problem is because you haven't accepted that you're a fucking loser, that you're a nerd, that you don't know what you're doing. The point is not stressing the part of being a nerd. The point is that you need to accept where you're actually where you're dysfunctional at.
Okay. And the expectations thing is a different thing. I'm just, okay. You always value your expectations. Okay. I was just trying to combine everything together and, I guess, jumbling it up.
Awesome. Are you done now?
Yeah, let's go to the other. It sounded kind of cool what you were saying. Let's go to that.
Pain is conserved. Do you remember the formula like energy is conserved in the universe?
Yes.
Okay, consider pain to be energy.
Okay.
Pain is conserved. It's not created or destroyed. It happens along with pleasure one way or another. It can't be avoided, only hastened or delayed. So I had this thought because like now in this generation, we're always trying to avoid pain.
Yes,
medicating or, avoiding discipline, not spanking kids.
Yeah, avoiding discipline, that's a big one.
So people go out of their way to try to avoid pain. Like if a kid is going to receive a painful consequence for doing something bad, they'll go out of their way to get them psychological help, medication, drugs. Instead of classic example would be like a kid is running around with scissors stabbing his friends, and instead of spanking him, telling him stop doing that bad behavior, they'll take away the scissors from everybody, or they'll build this whole safety system of they'll coat every kid in foam. And retardant foam so that if he gets stabbed, it won't be able to hurt him. So they'll go out of their way to avoid the painful confrontation with the poor behavior. Okay. But the problem is that pain doesn't actually go away. It's just like energy. It's conserved. So it just builds up. It's like you put in a pain bank account that's going to pay you dividends later. So when you grow up and you have no self-control at that point, then you become the criminal. Then that's like why most single mothers raise criminals, because they don't discipline their kids properly. They don't apply pain at an early stage when it's most effective. They wait till later, and then the police have to apply pain with the tasers, the batons. And by then, the kid's already a serial killer, burying chicks in his basement.
Mm-hmm. I can totally see the pain thing at all levels. Even in a relationship, if just to avoid pain and like instead of nipping something in the bud, you just let it go. Eventually, there's going to be much bigger pain.
Yes. It's always like that. Pain builds up as a bigger consequence. It doesn't go away just because you didn't handle the smaller version of it. Just like at work.
Yeah, like
if you had confronted this guy early, right when he started fucking around with you, it's a lesser confrontation. It's still painful, but it's a lesser confrontation. When later on it builds up, and now you try to confront this guy, you got the emotional turmoil, plus he's got a habit of fucking with you, so he doesn't respect you, and it's gonna be jarring for him to hear that now he wants respect. Now you want his respect finally when he's been fucking around with you the whole time for years.
He's like, what the fuck? All of a sudden,
yeah, all of a sudden you care. He's gonna be pissed off. It's gonna start World War III. So there's gonna be mega pain now, all reserved. It's all conserved. So that's my universal Einsteinian law of pain. Then next thing I listed was Zyga's web skills thing. I visited it. I saved the link just because I wanted to visit it and see if I could make a Pokemon character out of it, but I couldn't even figure out what the hell was going on.
It needs more organization.
Needs a little more work, I think. Yeah. Interesting idea. It reminded me of that, when we were talking about when we very first had the very first inception of Manhood Academy.
You had the virtual girl.
The virtual girl. That was exciting. That was an exciting toy to play with. Instead of a Japanese sex doll, we had a girl, and you could respond to her. It was like a multiple choice test, expectation management battle with a multiple choice test. Yes. You had to get the right answers, and you get further and further with an actual girl or a virtual girl. Very exciting toy.
I remember Rob created a quiz on Facebook once for me. Similar concept.
I like when you just throw something out there. Leave no explanation for it and expect everybody to read your mind.
Similar concept.
I got that part, but you don't bring anybody into your experience. Sometimes you just throw things out there and they have no ending. It's just like you say, I like vanilla. And there's no relevance to what you're saying.
I guess I do it like a chick. I need to
You throw it out there because you want me to talk about it or you want me to give you the reaction to it instead of creating the stimulating
conversation.
Yeah, but instead of doing the work to make it stimulating and to incorporate it into what we're saying, you just throw it out there and expect me to talk about it. Oh, by the way, Rob did this thing. And now, it's like you said, it's like we're talking about ice cream and then you go, I like chocolate. And it's great that you want to participate, but in some regards, it's almost like saying, hey, I like ice cream too, give me a high five. It's like if you just want the pat on the back, just tell me you want a pat on the back. I'd rather you say you just want the pat on the back than to throw out these retarded things.
Okay. Let me clarify. That probably
actually, you know what? I don't really mind that. I think it's part of your quirky Indian nature. I don't care if I'm adjusted to it. It's humorous to me.
Okay, that reminded me of that quiz, and I wanted to tell you about it. And I guess did a piss poor job at
Yes, you did a piss poor job. I'm not sure if I think other people will take that and go, you're a nerd, and it'll poorly inhibit your social interactions with other people. But with me, I kind of have, a history of talking to you, so it's just more amusing to me than really annoying. Whereas to somebody else, like a newer person, I would think they would take it as like, you're a nerd.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Like if they were talking about something and all of a sudden you just go, oh, I like chocolate ice cream. They're going to go, is this guy fucking bizarre?
You don't even have a history, so I was kind of felt you knew about the Facebook quiz, but apparently...
Yeah, because I hang out on Facebook all day long. Is that what you're telling me?
Okay, never mind. I'm just being retarded.
Yes, exactly. We know that Facebook on Manhood Academy is called Failbook.
Yes.
We do not advocate Facebook at all.
Oh, no, I was not advocating or recommending that.
I'm sure you were, but we don't. That's what I'm clarifying.
Okay.
Things you never receive an education in. Okay. Oh, this was just a little practical issue I was thinking about. Things you never receive an education in school, in high school. Cops, how to handle cops, how to deal with cops.
Oh, yeah.
The economy, houses, learning about rent, paying your bills, relationships, the dangers of technology, innovation, improving the quality of your life, getting a job, a career. Those types of things are such practical matters. And
keeping your house in order.
Keeping your house in order, cleaning up after yourself, good hygiene, all these things are just like so overlooked. And you see people making glaring errors all the time, like learning about a mortgage, things like that. Those basic things. I never had an education in a lot of these basic things.
Me neither. I'm still clueless about mortgages and stuff.
Like the economy or managing your money. That is such a crucial thing to learn, such a crucial skill. But they don't teach that. As like a required course in high school. That should be just as relevant as learning history or poetry.
They consider that like life lessons. Life will teach you.
Yeah. Life usually teaches you the hard way when you don't learn.
After you fuck up and you're down at the bottom.
Fucking retard schools. Okay, talk about the difference between what you expect and how guys react. It's the last podcast.
Anyway, I like those points that you mentioned. I thought you were going somewhere with it.
Which one? Oh, yeah, I was just talking about the things I think they should cover, like how to talk to people in authority, how to talk to cops when cops pull you over, how to handle authority figures, how to deal with authority figures, people with authority over you, the economy, how to get a job, how to manage your money, those types of things. I think you should know those types of things growing up. Those are so crucial to your life, and so many people don't know about those things, including me in various areas where I'm deficient and learning the hard way or learning through friends.
Okay.
Like
yes,
a lot of
you're just telling us what they are. Okay.
Yeah, like a lot of things I learn about, it's almost by accident. Like I'll be doing something with somebody, Dr. Ladice, or a friend who's more knowledgeable in the area, like in business matters. I'll be talking to a friend of mine, and I'll be discussing something, and he'll be talking about something, and he'll be talking about it in a knowledgeable way, some matter of business, and I'll be learning something just by what he's talking, like for the first time, some basic matter,
so
like an accounting matter. What's that?
What do you want the students to do? Do you want the students to be more aware of how to do these things?
No, I want it's wishful thinking. I want the schools to actually start doing their job of educating people in practical matters. It's called wishful thinking. Yes, exactly. Like teaching you about rent and bills and things like that. Yeah, wishful thinking.
Okay, you're not covering it on this.
I'm not covering it. I'm just saying I wish it happened.
Okay.
I would give lectures on technology, how it doesn't improve the quality of life, how it actually inhibits the quality of your life. People think innovation is so amazing, it's improving the quality of your life. Your cell phone has put your life in the toilet.
I remember there was like this Japanese company that creates all these different pictures of girls staring at you, and it's somehow supposed to get you used to looking at girls staring at you.
Awesome. Pictures of girls staring. I could see how that would be like a nerd activity where you think, oh, I can improve my socialization. I'm intimidated by girls. So what I'm going to do is hang pictures of girls all over my wall. But I'm not sure if they were aware of this, but in the 70s, kids used to hang posters of naked women or their favorite TV actress on their wall. And they would stare at it all day long and beat off to it all day long. And I'm pretty sure it didn't help them.
Okay.
But again, there's a lot of wishful thinking out there.
Yes.
Okay. Yo, talk about the difference between what you expect and how guys react to your last podcast.
Are we done with the pain point?
Yeah.
I like the whole concept of that. Okay, the delayed pain. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what else there's to talk about unless you
That's
want to
true, that's true. We kind of,
What's true?
That the pain, we kind of got the concept, like, pain now or pain later. The pain later is going to be much bigger. It can't be avoided. There's going to be pain at some point.
Okay.
So I get that part of it.
Sweet. Talk about the difference between, what did I mean here? Talk about the difference between what you expect and how guys react to the last podcast. Oh, I remember now. The last podcast. Let's go back to the last podcast. It's got to go to the forum. Lord Index. Last podcast. Let's see. What happened on the last podcast? I think I was reacting to some of the reactions given to the last podcast. I think I had a different reaction, and what I expect, or what... Oh, I think I remember. I remember now.
Trying to see what you're talking about.
Epically long marathon cast.
Oh, but the long one, yes.
When they're talking about the girl. Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. This is what I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to scroll down. Okay. Yeah. Did that. Epically long cast. I'm not sure who it was started with, but I remember something that Private Tugger said. He says, that whole shut up, in quotes, exchange was amazing to me. I was feeling uncomfortable, but you rode that out like one of those stuntmen riding a wild bull successfully. So he's talking about when I was having that exchange with that girl and I was telling her to shut up.
Amazing, yeah.
And it's
I don't think guys have probably heard that ever in their life. Right?
Yeah, so they're uncomfortable with it. And I'm starting to see, like, there's this different perspective. It's like when you don't know what you're doing, that is, to confront somebody is an uncomfortable thing. It almost seems like, people are saying you're too abrasive, too crass, too this, too that. And in some respects I am. But in other respects, they're not realizing that they are deficient in the area of managing their expectations, and they don't know how to apply pain to somebody or to confront somebody. So this is like a prime example of that, where this girl is violating my expectations and trying to usurp my authority, and I need to apply pain to that. So I need to put a stop to that. Now, I may have done it in an abrasive way, but the point is, I need to do that. It seems like the students are seeing this as like an extreme act or a superhuman act, like, Plum's so cool because he can do this. But to me, to be able to say no to a woman is a normal experience. It's like a necessary experience. So it struck me that these guys were describing this as like some amazing thing that they're so uncomfortable with. Whereas once you're on the other side of it and you realize it's a necessary thing, it's not so much uncomfortable, that it's more like it's a chore. You got to do it. Like brushing your teeth, you got to do it. Taking a shower, you got to do it.
Any form of tough authority seems a little extreme. And I used to think you're extreme, because when you're not used to authority your whole life, when somebody says no, and it seems a little extreme.
Yes. So I think that's interesting, is that the perspective is different from two sides, two different sides looking at it. From my eyes and from the student's eyes, they see it as extreme, and I see it as a necessary thing, like a necessary part of the training to be able to do this, to say no. Like they should be able to get to this point where they're saying no to people violating their expectations and saying no to women, learning how to manage women.
It's like when you're not functional and you look at something more functional or something.
It appears like superhuman. Whereas when I'm looking,
what the?
Yeah, and then I'm looking at it from the other way, and I'm saying, this is something you guys should be able to do. You shouldn't view this as superhuman, because you're going to be doing it. You're going to be required to do it in the future if you ever hope to graduate from Manhood Academy.
Well, we're ways away. So.
Well, again, the decision is in your hands. You're only as far away as your decision to do it.
My mind makeup.
Yes, your faggy mind has spoken once again. This exchange was way advanced, in my opinion. Okay, this chick has some emotional investment in you before the call, so take the fact that you were talking over and not letting her get a word in for the majority of the convo. Is this something you do even with chicks you first meet? It's almost like a shocking thing. But this girl is used to being controlling, so this is why I'm talking over her a lot. A lot of the time I'm talking over her.
Yes.
So maybe this is an extreme experience for him. He's used to tolerating certain behavior, but I'm letting him know that, hey, this is stuff you shouldn't be tolerating. You should be managing this type of behavior. Especially when it's concerning, especially when it's concerning your authority. Like, see, you're talking, and I have an important point to make. I need to make it, so I talk over you.
Exactly. So you do it all the time, but they feel this is okay. But when you do it with a girl, they're like, "Holy fuck!"
Holy fuck.
So, anyways, go on.
Yes. So that's a good example. I do with students. I do with girls.
Yeah.
I mean, I should really just say stop talking, but a lot of times I'm lazy too. I'm not fully functional. I'll just do things a lazy way or my convenient way. Ignore.
That works though.
It works, but it'd be a lot more effective if I was just apply pain directly and say, shut up. I don't talk when I'm talking.
See, that's one thing I still need to get in sync. Like, I still not talking, when to talk, not talk.
And then learning how to apply pleasure. Oh, I was reading something today. Let me talk about Paperclip for a second. This guy is our resident serial killer.
Oh, he talked to some chick today. I was like, oh, wow.
His particular brand of expression is intriguing, equal parts intriguing and equal parts disturbing to me.
I like some of it when he talks about girls. He goes...
Yes, his descriptions are very sexy.
Their lips and flowers. I'm like, I want to use those.
You little homo. Okay, hold on a second. Here we go.
Put up papers, blogs, and talk to chicks online.
Alrighty. Let's see here. Oh, wait, it's an expectation management, not in his,
Oh yeah, today, that was
What the
not the chick.
back. I hate how I'm designing this forum and I'm confused by my own forum.
It's like sometimes I like think of like some random ideas, but I'll talk about it later.
What?
I was thinking like someday if like the expression and expectation management law merge into one thing, because like
They really should. They really should be the same thing.
It's like I had this idea in my mind, but it's like hard to at the point where we are right now.
I like to split them up in the sense that I guess they shouldn't be split up, but
Eventually, someday, I guess organically.
yeah, someday they should organically just go together, where you're expressing yourself and your expectations are involved in that. But this is to identify that, look, you need to have expectations, and also you need to practice expressing those expectations. That's why we separate them, but I guess really they shouldn't be.
Also, with the expression block, I guess you could do like a pure expression practice, since we're still needing a lot of practice, just like talking about things. Like
Yeah, I want you to more concentrate on, bringing me into your experience versus telling me about somebody that you're having meet your expectations while you're describing the experience. It should be happening simultaneously is my point. Eventually,
organically.
Okay, so he's talking about this girl he met, and he goes, I walked by a store with a girl standing before it. I approached her and asked her about the product she sells. Afterwards, I began stating interest by describing how her physical beauty made me feel. I used analogies to convey my experience. At one point, she stated, your. It's not you are. You apostrophe R-E. That's a contraction of you are. She said, you are lines are corny. No, he meant to say your.
Yeah.
This is funny because he used the wrong your in this case when people typically use the other your.
Maybe because he sees you using it everywhere?
No, I'm pretty sure he just made an accident here. Okay, he just accidentally did it. I noticed, you know what? I always misstate things. Like I say, he made an accident here. When I really meant to say, he accidentally mistyped something. And I know what I mean to say, and I kind of I say it anyway and I'll edit later. I notice I express things in a retarded way, which is ironic because I'm always on you guys about your grammar, but.
Well, you do that when you're speaking? Or
yeah, especially when I'm speaking. I sound like I'm from Compton.
Well, when you're writing, you're way more thoughtful about things.
Yeah, I know where things go, but it's hard to think and arrange at the same time. Sometimes for me, when I'm trying to explain something and I want to get something out in a hurry, and I have a point to get to, but I'm so anxious to get it out that I just fumble through things and correct the sentences later. I say them backwards.
Yeah, I just throw out half a blurb and expect you to
half a blurb and expect us to mind read. Yes. At one point, she says, "Your lines are so corny." So I respond, "No, they're not. You're supposed to say, thank you." Nice. By thinking my genuine compliments are corny, you're implying that you don't take yourself seriously. I don't like that. So I understand what he's doing and understand what he's trying to get across here is that she's violating his expectations. He's applying pain and leading her and how he expects her to respond. But the way he says it, I think types it, I can picture him saying this because I've talked to him all the time. He's a student.
I know that's exactly what he said.
But it sounds like he's reading her IKEA directions versus speaking to a friend. And I'm not sure if this is just part of his nerdiness or part of his expression growing up or just the way he arranges things in his head or just because he approaches things so logically that he's trying to be so ultra coherent. I don't know which it is.
Initially, when I used to speak to him, I used to feel he's kind of very robotic. But then the more I talk to him, I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, there's definitely the side of him that is this, a personable side. But yeah, there is that element of I feel like I'm always talking to the cyborg. I feel like I'm always talking to Schwarzenegger. By thinking my genuine compliments are corny, you're implying that you don't take yourself seriously.
Yes.
I don't like that. Do you take yourself seriously? She replied, "Yes, I do. I like your compliments." After a minute or so, I began sharing my ideal date with her. I described the location, the atmosphere, what we would do, and provided details to paint her a beautiful picture. She responded in the affirmative and complimented my manner of conveying myself. Well, I have to leave, so I asked for her number, and immediately she gave me the affirmative numerals to reach her coordinates on her phone. Oh, I make myself laugh.
That was I could totally connect to that. Connect to what I was thinking about.
This is exactly, yes, what I think of Sir Paperclip as he speaks. I've realized...
But then at the same time, he's so...
He's so comfortable that it's almost his robotic expression is disarming because he's very comfortable.
He's so in sync with those expectations. He's like, wait, you just...
Yeah, the thing is... Yeah, I misspoke. You're right. He's more in sync with them is the thing. It's he's so convinced and adamant with them that expressing them in this type of manner is acceptable. I remember he was talking about managing his girlfriend, and he expected her to be there at 9:10, not 9:08 or 9:09 and 30 seconds. I'm like, is this guy insane? Is this guy Hitler making the trains run on time? This guy is more demanding than Hitler. So his trains are running on time at his house. But hey, there is his expectations. I didn't know if they were so extreme. I mean, to me, they're so super duper uber extreme. But if you can get them met, I guess. Great.
Well, it's actually, I don't know, like when I hung out with him, it was like I was like, oh, make sure I'm not there too late, and I was almost on time. It's kind of nice, like the other person, like.
It's good that you guys care about time. It's hard to fault you because on one hand, it is respectful to be on time, but on the other hand, it's like be here at 9:10 instead of 9:09.
Yeah, that's literally the try. Yeah, I think over time he's gonna ease up too. And
I think maybe the point is to be understanding of people's dysfunction. Like they're not going to be perfect. It's also it's a matter of experience because on one hand they're not perfect. They're not very well trained to show up on time because you allow your expectations to fester and just become irrelevant to other people. So they don't care what time they show up. They just don't respect you enough to show up on time.
That was like when me and Rob hung out. 2 hours later, still not. Oh yeah, we're on our way. So
yes. Exactly. You guys are a perfect loser example of not showing up on time because the other person hasn't enforced their expectation of, hey, be there on time.
But like with paper, I'm like, oh, I don't want to displease him,
Yes, but then there's the other point of, now you made me forget, you little Indian, of managing your expectations so people meet your expectations. So if you are the person that expects them to be on time, you don't want to waste your time, you are trying to get them there on time. So it's a valid thing to say, hey, I expect you to be here at 9, or even if you expect it to be at 9:10. Like he's the type of guy who says instead of like hour increments, like I always schedule things if I'm going to do something like in hour increments, like 9, 10, or even 9:30. You know, he's like the guy who'll go be here at 9:13 because I know it's going to take me 7.12 minutes to get to this location. That'll give me 3.2 minutes to get to my residence. So be here at 9:17 to coincide with my arrival. Like he's that exact.
I think he's easy enough, yeah.
But I think with more, I don't know, maybe with more frustration or more experience, you'll realize people will meet your expectations to a certain degree, but they're also dysfunctional so that you need to accommodate for their dysfunction. Or accept, not necessarily accommodate the dysfunction, but accept that they're going to have dysfunction, accept that they're going to break. It's almost like me going, hey, everybody needs to daily fill in a blog, daily write something about expectation management, share your experiences so I can respond to you in a timely manner and in a thorough manner. But a lot of you guys violate my expectations on the forum, and I realize you guys are so dysfunctional. That's why you're here in the first place. You can't fucking follow through. You can't do anything right. So that's what you're in the process of learning. So on one hand, I need to have my expectations and demand you follow them. But on the other hand, I realize you guys are too retarded to follow them so much to the letter. It's like
you can go like a nerd approach, like write a program where if people don't write blog for 7 days, it kicks them off and they have to write 2 blogs to get back on or something.
Yeah, we tried that, but like with you end up writing 20-page papers. But those, I figure those are serious enough violations.
Okay.
That I feel like I'm going to punish you when you're violating my authority, when you're undermining my authority, which is essential for me teaching any of the students here. If you're going to fuck around and not do your blogs or do whatever, that hurts you more than the other students, even though it does hurt the other students in an indirect way. But what I need to maintain is the authority in the classroom. And if you're violating my authority, questioning my authority, then that I need to apply pain to. I need to nip that in the bud. The other things I'm more lax with because I realize you guys are in the process of learning. And if it's going to take you 10 years because you're a fucking slacker, I guess it's going to take you 10 years. If it's going to take you 6 months, I'd be much more happy to hear that. But
everybody would.
The class goes at your pace.
Yes.
So that's what we have. Let's see. Seems abnormal or aggressive instead of expected a default expectation.
So were you planning on going somewhere with papers, reading this thing, or just your general commentary about what you felt?
That was, yeah. I just wanted to comment on Paper's insanity, his typical insanity. We covered that. I wanted to make some kind of acknowledgement of guys I think that are expressing certain facets of authority. Sean Connery, Mel Gibson, Christian Bale, but even some of these guys are fail. Like Mel, going insane because he can't manage his expectations with a girl. On one hand, it seems like he's very authoritative because he's speaking his mind, and you know that I always appreciate Braveheart when he goes crazy, like Christian Bale when he goes on his rant. I always appreciate that. But the other part is the reason why they're doing these things is because they can't get their expectations met. So it's like the frustration's boiling over. So I appreciate the frustrated, awesome expression, but of their frustration. But on the other hand,
it's like me and my coworker.
Yes.
I was like, "You're mocking me," and it's gone.
Yes. If only you could go so crazy that you could have a Christian Bale rant or a Mel Gibson rant.
But then I might get fired. But
you need to blow me. This guy's so amazing. I mentioned Ryan Philippe for having one of the most classic scenes in a movie, socking that chick. Sarah Silverman
Silverman,
in
the
the
female
face.
comedian or some shit like that.
So great. The guy who knocked out Snooki, high five award. Again, a lot of these guys are getting violent because they're not able to manage their expectation with the women. It's just boiling over. But I'm giving them props for boiling.
Even that is so rare, though. It doesn't happen.
Yes, that's why I'm giving them acknowledgement.
I wish I saw that at every
boiling
street
over.
corner. Chicks getting, bitches getting put in place.
The guy who stood up to the chick at the tennis match, even he got slapped, but at least he was standing up for himself with his bitch, this fat, chunky
I've
bitch.
seen that tennis match.
Oh God, she's such a cunt.
Is it on the forum?
Yeah, it's in. It might be in the forum, but it's definitely on YouTube. Look up a U.S. tennis match, and this guy standing up to this old bitch who slaps him,
Oh,
and then her husband tries to attack him, and he gets thrown out. It's fucking amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Yes, tennis match.
Let's see what else, students.
I play tennis.
I guess that's all for now. Yeah, that was a long one.
Got any more points on your PowerPoint?
I don't know. Any final parting words, Bogsla?
Keep training, keep writing, keep managing your expectations.
You are an amazing walking T-shirt. You're a walking bumper sticker for India. I am thrilled to have you on the podcast as always.
Sweet. Me too, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you, students, for listening. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.